Hello, everybody. Welcome to another play-in match here on Free Enterprise 2. We have McBain and Zeke here in the Defensor group. Winner gets into the bracket, other goes home. So, my name is CS Radical, joined by Deathlike in the booth. We also have XenoCAD doing the magic, and Dubward47 pushing all the buttons. Deathlike, how are you doing this fine afternoon?
Doing okay. Good time. Any day is a good time to roll a seed. And yeah, we have a Kane start, so I'm excited. Probably at least the character, at least a holdover, some decent swords, some decent heavy armor, with a nice jump command, because you can do some nice tricks with that. And the seed is full of surprises, so hoping to see some excitement here.
Well, at the very least, with a Kane start, you know, if a Val shows up early, that's not going to surprise you too hard, unless it's an ugly spot. But, you know, with the objectives that we seem to be running here, what is your initial thoughts as we're walking in?
A lot of key items. I mean, you got Forge, you've got Pan, you have the Hook. I mean, there's so much dependencies, and not a lot of time. You're probably gonna have to do full clear Baron Castle, not just the boss. Probably have to even check the basement for the key item check. So just because there's one key item required for Moon, one chapter of the Moon, that doesn't mean that everything isn't interconnected and chains will occur.
And that's what we hope for. You don't want it to just be a straight run through. We want to see a little bit of, you know, surprise, a little bit of suffering, a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of guessing, all of that and above. Also, before we begin I want to give a shout out to the main Free Enterprise channel for the raid earlier. Just you know, you came in time for Metal Mage. We'll take that as a win either way. Hope you guys enjoyed that race there. But yeah, we are getting all set to go with this one. Winner of this match will go into the bracket up against Rybon, which will be a very fun match to see no matter who wins. Yeah, what do you see going forward? Who do you think has an edge, or is this really just going to be a down the middle and we'll see how the seed plays it?
Like any seed, it can go either way. I think it might favor Zeke, who's kind of like an unknown. McBain has played in previous tourneys. Zeke, kind of a newcomer, at least a newcomer. So, but you know, seeds can roll for one runner or the other at any time, and looks like they're off to the races. Let's see who Kane is partnered with. Hey, it's a Sid, so may try to do an ice brand. Yep, that's Ruby, the weapon for Rubicant, because Ruby likes ice.
Well, I mean, like maybe the wrong word in the case of that fight, but hey, I know Kane will like it when he has ice brand against Ruby. The interesting thing to do with this matchup is that McBain and Zeke, when they did play each other, they played to less than 20 seconds from each other when they played in the group stage. So the last time they fought, it was as close as you can get. So we gotta wonder if this seed plays out in a similar fashion where they kind of even things out. This could be a really close race again based on previous results.
Yeah, usually when two players have played before and get close, they're probably along the same thought process of routing. Maybe not exactly the same. I mean, everyone has their own differences. But, you know, sometimes they generally have more general things, like, you know, looting certain areas or favoring certain characters, and you know, it's not much. Sometimes there's not too much separating two players that come around the same at the same time. Looks like McBain decides, hey, let's raid the basement treasury. Not too shabby. Looks like Zeke, I think, just faded the character at Hobbs because not interested.
Yeah, and you got two characters now that have a decent weapon to start. McBain did find a rune axe in Damsian, so now you have Kane with an ice brand, Sid with a rune axe. Not bad in terms of damage to start things off with. It is applicable too. You got a couple of bosses you can deal with pretty quickly too, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes from here. But right now it looks like both Forerunners now are going to start checking Antline as that first key item check, and we'll see where that leads us.
Zeke has decided, oh, that's a nice sorcerer robe. Looks like both of them are deciding outlines to play. Probably need to get a few levels on Kane. Sid is probably self-start enough, although Rune Axe, not the most accurate weapon, which can cause a few problems, especially if a Valve decides to show up. But even if we yeet Sid, the Rune Axe will serve Kane well. Kane has probably the most versatile weapon set, like probably next to Edge in terms of weapons set. Cecil obviously has the best burr, and we find Doctor Dialogue. So it's gonna not pretty free, but will be a slight delay because someone has to have a speech, kind of like DKC.
Yeah, I imagine the first main boss that, our runners are going to run into is going to be one that's already going to take some time out, which I'm sure they're just ecstatic about.
It's better now to get the bosses that will delay you out of the way. I mean, the unfortunate side effect is not getting as much experience points, as the only boss that provides XP in the sequence is the second phase, where it's just Dr. Luge in his mechanicalized form, and still they have more than enough damage to deal. You don't even really have to even bother with J items unless you want to get cute. It looks like, hey, let's just go. Let's do Sid things, and because Kane really needs the XP, so it doesn't. So not a huge deal. Hey, we have half a forge.
I really have to question that play though. I mean, Sid, in canon, you don't blow yourself up till later. What are you doing in here in Amline Cave? That's a little soon, don't you think? But yeah, getting that Adamant, that puts you halfway to the Legend Sword. Getting that done, free Excalibur if you can't find anything in chests. Not a bad start. However, not exactly what you're looking for yet. You're not even close to being underground at this point. And, with the potential of a hook route, you're kind of hoping for maybe something to kind of offset that. An Earth Crystal if you want to go try to get a couple extra characters. The Treasury might help you with some stuff. Or, of course, that Magma Key and just not even have to think about hook route, even though it is an objective. If the character that you're given is not quite as favorable and the bosses maybe are a little rough in there, well, you don't really want to look forward to that.
Yeah, you want to put off any hook route to later, but you probably, at the same token, probably want the immediate free character and see what's in the shop in Evelyn Cave, which is usually worthwhile. Hey, in an anchor we would like to pick up with a free boss on Outquake. Pick Sid with the Rune Axe should prove effective. Just a one-shot kill.
Yeah, and obviously looking to take that Tella. Maybe Zeke ends up going back now with that Rune Axe in hand. But, the other thing too is that ordeals may end up being your way to the underground, so who knows? That might be something that our runners pick up quickly, because Tella with all those spells does become a lot more useful going forward.
Yeah, there's sometimes when you don't see an early Tella, you probably gonna fade ordeals. But I think in this case, you've picked up you kind of may want to consider ditching Sid. I mean, Tella is a better anchor. You have more versatility. If you need extra offense, then Sid is a better choice. I think when you see Tella, you're probably looking to yeet Sid as soon as possible. Find a better berserker in that spot. So it's not to say we don't want like Sid. It's Sid does a few things, but we have a better anchor and have better options. Looks like a treasury check. Public treasury have interesting enough, has tier 5 like a decent chance, and it's with T Wildish it should improve. It's very kind of lucrative compared to like any other public accessible areas that don't require a key item.
Yeah, and then when you get a hook at a bedward, it's not exactly a bad thing regardless, because you probably have your underground access now. And it probably also tells our runners that, hey, you might want to go to ordeals too, because you might be needing spells now, unless that free character is a foo. But, if you're going to go all the way there to check and then realize, well, I got to get some more levels on that foo now, you might as well do ordeals anyway to get those 3 bosses in. So we'll see what Zeke does, and then depending on how McBain goes here, because McBain, I believe, is in Fabul dealing with Rubicant, we'll see what that leads to as well, because who knows, maybe Magma Key is still out there.
Yeah, I think you probably still have to, it's best still to check. I know people like fading Fabul because, hey, you don't want to do it, you don't want to kind of double, triple, even triple dip. But sometimes their pan shows up here, and it doesn't come, well, Rat Tails, at least once finding the hook, will turn that immediately. But that's assuming it'll come down to that. Certainly worth turning in immediately, because you can, like, if you get another key item out of it, whether it's a terminal one or not, getting to the 10 key item for double XP is certainly worthwhile.
And because of the way that McBain has done it in order, there's a chance Zeke doesn't even look for that Rat Tail and maybe does fade Fabul. So if that Rat Tail ends up being something really useful, that might pay off. But for now, Zeke looks like he's going to go check that free character, at least get a sense of what that second boss is going to be as well. So not to mention probably do some chest checks. Yeah, saving just outside the cave. So getting a couple of things done here. Maybe seeing if the shops will leave something nice as well. Nice Earth Hammer there for Sid if you want to change out the axe. So at least some decent loot if you're lucky. Oh, 2 of them. All right, well, I guess if you had a second Sid that would work, but...
I think one Sid is probably enough. I would probably switch it out only because I value the accuracy early game. Late game, you probably want more raw attack power. Because the variance and your accuracy, you gain an accuracy point essentially every 4 levels. So the starting Sid, you get essentially 5% accuracy. It's good, but not good enough because some of the strongest of axes have only 60% accuracy, which means so around 2/3 of the time, because of the bonus accuracy, Sid will not connect per hit, and even with the high multipliers, and with a Val, sometimes it becomes a little bit miserable. But hey, tentacles and edge, worth doing.
And also on Zeke's end, I don't think he has that Tellus, so if he wants to leave with whatever that is, and it's a Porum, so not the best pickup, but at least is a white mage for the time being. I don't believe Zeke has any way of exiting, so you're going to have to do the walkout.
You have does not pick up the Tella on Ordeal, so walking out is not a good feeling at the moment. So there's a Jura on the second fight for McBain, so that should be pretty simple if Sid does Sid things, and it's already halfway there. Jura is actually kind of punchy at this spot, so usually karate is usually at this spot for vanilla, and the thing is, kick, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but getting for kick to do the kind of damage it does in vanilla is to beef up the spot significantly, and see the accuracy and the variance causes Sid's damage to look kind of pretty not so hot, but should take another hit or two, and shouldn't be too long for it to take down Azura.
Yeah, it looks like McBain's also established life lock on Asura, so you won't have to worry about any more healing at this point, so not too bad.
Yeah, this is public of the Damsian Treasury, which is certainly paying off for McBain. Sometimes the early game equipment not so great, but sometimes it gets you over the hump, and this is one of the fights where you do want to get over that hump. And there Jura goes. So let's see what the key item is at the spot, and it is for the ninja you just picked up.
And during all that too, Zeke saw, I believe, Dark Imps in the Rubicon spot, so thought, hey, why don't I go and check if this is pretty much a free hook route if I can get things in. But Mom Bomb waiting in the King Queen spot, not what you want to see, especially not with any real party at this point. But it's more of less just an info dive, getting the idea of what you're going to be seeing going forward, and then starting to establish where you're at. So. But yeah, on McBain's side, having an edge and one of his best swords, that's just going to make this party even better. And looks like... Well, it doesn't have a tail yet. I'm not sure. Unless just checking. Oh, no, the rat tail. Never mind. Did check. Okay. I'm mixing my stuff up here. I'm thinking Zeke didn't have the rat tail. So we'll see if that ends up coming in handy then.
So it's something. I mean, there's some value into the crystal ring. I mean, not only you have dragon resistance, which is probably the most important thing. You have the agility manipulation, +5 agility, and resistance to some status, uncontrollable statuses like sleep and charm. Those can be taken away. Good, also good for the goalless fight, which is always invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had to do it anyway as an objective, so you might as well get it done. You never know where it comes into. Now Zeke following through, going to find that same edge with the Murasame. McBain now checking ordeals, as we said earlier, probably makes sense. Get the 3 fights in case you do come across a food, but also Tella can use some spells. That will help a lot too, especially if the hook route is necessary with a little bit of extra magic, so we'll see. We'll also see if the bosses are mean here. That'll be another very interesting question that we'll see answered shortly.
I usually not worried about the bosses. I mean, there are some rude bosses like Blarg or Nope Rope. Hey, Maga Sisters, hey, we have just the weapon for you. Yeah, there are. I think, just quickly, the Edge swapped in the middle position since Edge is the fastest. Designating Edge the anchor in the overworld is the preferable solution, especially when Edge gets a lot of extra free turns and kind of disrupts bosses pretty quickly. At least addresses them, especially with the back attack looming, which typically still Edge is quick enough to to get his turn. If like say there's a Blarg at that end, you can be a benefit, except unless there's a plague, which kind of reverses the math there. But they're just dolls.
I mean, any fight in the back row is going to be annoying just because of, you got to sit there and waiting for attacks. So unfortunately, McBain's going to have to take, a bit of a breather and just watch as 6 dolls do very, very, very massive amounts of damage. Like 24 is no joke, okay? But, I'm pretty sure one flame from Edge might kind of deal with most of this.
Yeah, it's the great thing about having Edge is that a lot of the early game fights, sometimes, especially with bosses that have multiple components, they're usually taken care of with the flame, like bombs, mini bombs. They don't have too much HP, although I think in the hook spot they might have a decent bit. Might not be able to take care of like all of them at the same time. Maybe because there are weaker bombs that have less HP, but that's not a problem for McBain. Just go directly to what is at the altar. Hopefully there'll be a decent key item. All we're here for is the spells, so that's the most important. And if you get the key item, like a magma key, that would be nice. That would be icing on the cake.
And also putting a Soma drop on that Tella, so if you really feel like casting a Meteor for fun, you can do it. Hey, it may not be a necessary objective, but that is a fan favorite key item right there, getting some music potentially. So we'll see if that leads to anything. Unfortunately, it's not an objective, so we may not see it unless it is hiding something, so it's not in stone that we're going to see it, but we know here, and everybody in the chat, we want it. We need it.
I think especially with this flag set completionist, sometimes it makes sense to try to do a lot of the overworld checks unless it's been like zonks here and there all over the place. And I think we know, and kind of at this point we're kind of set on this is a hook route. We might have to do some additional grinding. Might have to do our grind through Eblin Castle. And so Twin Harp is appealing because you can do something, get a little bit of some XP on the way to doing other things. So it's probably might as well do the key item check, and for the XP, it's something, but the value is with just trying to get the check out of the way. Worst case, you could kind of defer, maybe wait for the Earth Crystal to show up to kind of pair the two objectives together.
Yeah, and given the level of all your characters at this point, Edge is nice, although McBain doesn't know the character sitting in Eblin, so the Twin Harp could be at least an option to level up a little bit more, and if you're really lucky, find something else that kind of takes you away from a hook route. But given where McBain's at already, and if he decides to check the castle for any interesting loot and find something, it might just say, no, I don't need to go to Magnus and see what's behind that harp. We're just going to go straight and deal with this hook route, and unless I can't handle what's there, forget it. Like, we're just going to do it. We're going to hammer through it, even if it means, you know, taking a little bit longer than I would have liked to.
Yeah, this is certainly for, at least for some looting. I mean, Adamant is the goal. I mean, this name of the whole tourney. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? More Adamant armors. So this is certainly the opportunity to get some Adamant rolls, hopefully. And even if not that, there's certainly some. Usually at Evelyn, especially at this early stage, with a hook route, the loot will certainly be beneficial for the entire party. What this also means is that McBain will I think McBain will take the Porum, because you want to try to get an actual dedicated white mage. I mean, any white mage that doesn't necessarily Tella, you probably want to try to get up to speed, get some levels, get Berserk, especially Berserk, with currently a kind of a Berserker heavy team that McBain has. That is certainly at least try to the goal. I don't think Sid's been back row glitch, which is kind of hampering the overall offense, and could be better served maybe have swapped the Rune Axe to Kane, but the battle's over. We'll see what the reward is. Hopefully it's what they're helping. Well, it's Burr.
I mean, if you can find one, unless, you know, Cecil hangs out at, you know, his personal favorite spot when I'm playing these seeds, which is Giant, where I can never find him.
I have the seeds where the character you actually want is behind the thing you want to do least. Yeah, those enjoyable moments, probably forgettable because you don't want to do them. You just don't want to do them unless you have to. And at least when you have to, well, then you have to go. There's 2 crystal rings. I'm not sure. Tella should go faster, but okay. Oh, it's free Hanzo Steel. Edge is already online. Mura Anamasa. That's McBain is having a great time getting all the Hanzo Steel he ever needs.
Yeah, you're just laughing at this point, and you still have 2 chests to check, so you can still find any more fun in there. You still got the 2 traps. And you still got a good chunk of the castle left, so you're already laughing now, and now you're just being like, okay, what other fun things can I also find in this? Zeke also finally getting through Baronin, getting his edge with the Murasame, so getting closer to being on the same area now of just, you know, do you go for that Twin Harp soon if he does choose to do ordeals? Or do you just go for that hook route still? Knowing that at least Zeke knows the Porum's there, so now it becomes a little bit more of a decision of what you want to do?
I think if you want to try to hope for the Magma Key at Twin Harp, it's interesting play. Oh, that flame! That's gonna probably cause some death. And there goes Edge. Took the nap because Black Cats don't like to be taking damage, and in turn will respond in kind. So yeah, that's what happened. It's okay. But that's okay. They're not losing too much XP. I mean, this is pretty early for Edge, and this XP, hey, weapon for Kane.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best you're gonna get with Kane. It's still not, you know, Kane at this point, given that Cecil's still available, because once we get into the brackets, Cecil won't be. Kane is not exactly your top tier choice, even with White Spear, but you know, for further, it might be the case. Jeez, these chests keep on giving Stardust and a ribbon, too.
Yeah, the loot, I mean, T Wildish is being kept at tier 7, so, and Stardust being tier 6, pretty popular, pretty strong. That usually carries you through even basic and really simple overall checks. Hey, more K weaponry, and that didn't even require a trap chest. That is incredible, and this should be the end of the looting, as this is the last trap chest. Still hoping for a decent adamant armor. There's still plenty of decent equipment to go around, though. So no loss in treasure. But at this having clearing this out, probably should be thinking to kind of slow down looting. Kind of pretty full on the equipment.
I mean, it would be very poetic to see no adamant armor after all the chests you've opened that didn't require a fight, so it would be kind of funny.
Hey, did you like first Massa? How about second Massa? Perfect Hanzo Steel in Evelyn Castle. The seed is mostly done. I don't know. There is still more than this seed, but in terms of offense, you pretty much have powered up all the key characters you're probably going to keep in the seed, even with a Stardust Rod on Tella. Might never really need to use it, but it's still nice to have. So McBain we'll find the Porum. Probably will take him, but would be surprised if Porum was yeeted, though. Looks like there'll still be looting to be done.
Hard to say, because you really have to wonder with Tella. You do have some high-level black magic if you think you might need it. Now, depends on what you think. I mean, we do see Darkins as the first boss, and we do know that Mom Bomb is the second, but obviously McBain won't know that till he gets to the top. So, I'm trying to think from my end, I'd probably keep Tella at this point and just worrying that I might need magic spells, because at this juncture, my brain would still be going, well, what if I see a turtle somewhere? Like, there's always these things that go through my head, but again, McBain, very experienced, so we'll know pretty quickly what he thinks is the more viable option between the two. And at the very least, with the party that you stand with, you have some decent physical damage options, so you can smack your way out of a little bit. You would have liked to see an adamant armor just to make it pretty clear that you're going to get through these fights, and also you still have the one more trap to check in here as well. So you do have a few options to potentially get yourself over the hump. So we'll see what McBain does here. Zeke will be pretty closely behind getting that twin harp unless he decides to go for that harp first. But looks like we'll probably do the same thing and start heading into Evelyn Cave again. Maybe checking the castle first for all that sweet, sweet loot. But otherwise, seems like we're going in a pretty in sync route right now.
Yeah, I look at the castle not just for the loot, but just for the levels. Like we're talking about more of Kane getting the levels. Edge. I mean, we're not if he falls, you're not losing too much. But Kane is the one who needs the levels the most of all the characters. At least although I think Zeke has Porum, so he probably wants levels on Porum as well.
I don't believe he has the Porum, because I think after that whole thing, he didn't have a save, so we just ended up starting right back outside the cave. So would have to go back in for that Porum.
Okay, so at this point, ultimately, you want the XP for Kane. Is this what it amounts to? And there's Free Six Gauntlet. What this looting today? On the up and up, 100% would do again. Looks like McBain is also looking for the Mad Ogre's Trap Chest for probably just more XP and the loot, hoping again still for an Adamant, and it could be interesting. Looks like gambling with the Grimoire. There's plenty of Grimoire spells, all of them offensive based. Surprisingly, the Azure will not pop up, and there are some kind of quirks that come with like the Odin one, which can still fail. That's because that check doesn't go away.
Yeah, and unfortunately, considering that we don't generally do random encounters in these seeds, Odin's kind of pointless unless maybe you use him once in All Gauntlet. But if you're saving a Grimoire for All Gauntlet, you must have had a lot of Grimoires.
I actually like it in like bosses where you can kind of cheese a little bit. We're talking like Calbretta or Mylon Dance Party, where you kind of get rid of the other non-boss targets, and sometimes it kind of goes in your favor. Like it's kind of one of those items where, you know, bosses without the boss bit are actually the best targets for it. Or like you can use it in regular battles, and you can like get a random blarg, and it's cool. I didn't see what McBain got, but
it was just a black robe.
So you already got a free sorcerer robe somewhere. It doesn't really matter. Tella's armor probably doesn't matter too much. But there's no Porm. So I think there'll be a rude awakening. Still be maybe it looks like maybe Sid might be the anchor. It's hard to tell who's going to be the anchor. It looks like Tella's currently the anchor, and that's probably the best bet. Maybe swap out Sid for Mr. Burr himself, I guess. There's not too many characters left, and there's only one dupe, so we'll see what comes out of that. But looks like McBain will find out what is at the King Queen Adamant spot.
And immediately trying to assess, okay, this is going to take me forever. I'm just going to start throwing things because I'm going to need to.
It's not too much HP at this spot, but given that the King Queen Adamant doesn't punch, but the punches are not balanced at all because why do you need to balance something when they don't punch? So that's why Mom Bomb is kind of a little scary. It shouldn't be too bad. But it's going way too fast. Sid is the anchor, which is kind of interesting. And don't worry too much, but there's the bombs should be taken care of with the flame, or I'm not sure. I don't think Tella would be able to take care of all of them though.
I mean, if one more hits Tella, nope, managing to get the virus off. Luckily. No, we're still going. That flame hopefully will solve it. I'm not sure how much HP they get, because I can't remember the last time I did Mom Bomb in this spot, but it's through. So now you just got to deal with the Dark Imp. So basically, you just got to get those 3 coffins off before they kill you. You do get the full heal as well, so it should be okay at this point. But hey, there's always a chance things can go wrong.
I don't remember who bought like a 4 set of coffins. I think it was Zeke. So because he already knew what the boss was. In this case, McBain has 4, so 1 for 1, and probably do some life glitching while he's at it. Because any XP is a good XP.
Yeah, get some free XP there. At least try to get a little bit more in. You never know what you're going to find in the underground, especially because a lot of things aren't open at this point. Maybe the freebie can give us an Earth Crystal, give us a little bit more help in here for potential party members. We'll see, but for now, just focus on getting as much as you can out of the fight that you're currently in, which is what McBain does. Gets a cool 33,000. That'll get a few levels on everybody. And officially, we have our first runner underground at just shy of the 29-minute mark.
Yeah, this is starting to become a jet seat, but only because of the loot at Eblin Castle. Pretty much a pretty big spike in power. I mean, you have the White Spear, you have a pair of the best Hanzo Steel that Eblin can offer. So I mean, so it's not surprising that this is freezing. Although that boss battle, I mean, you just need all those coffins paid off. That's just the story.
And it's going to be interesting if you do get the Earth Crystal soon. With all of that loot, do you even look at Treasury? You might still do it anyway because you might be looking at things like power shirts, maybe more darts too. You can also always find more White Spears and stuff. So maybe you still do it, but at the very least, you're not going there with the intent of like equipping your characters. You already are pretty decently equipped at this point. You have, I believe we saw a Life Staff as well. So you have Life Staff, Stardust Rod, you have a Sorcerer Robe, you have Edge fully equipped, you do have a White Spear. You have a pretty good set of equipment here, unless you're maybe like trying to find like, I don't know, a white shirt. You're kind of in a pretty good situation with all your inventory at this point.
I think what the team's lacking is just kind of like armor, just more like mage armor, but the Tella doesn't matter. But I think maybe holding out for eating the porn, probably holding out for a Rosa. I mean, this the biggest kind of thing on Porm is not just the learning spells at a slower rate than Rosa, but the lower HP is usually a deal breaker for some people. And you don't want Z fights with your white mage on the floor because you couldn't live through a unnerfed Big Bang. So I can understand that. And hey, Eve, we have a wall.
I feel like there's some magic behind this wall. That wall should not be able to jump like that. I see some chicanery, some magic, some sorcery going on here.
I mean, it's wide enough, as they say. Dancing walls, probably nightmares like Calbrenna's, kind of evil dolls that kind of move. So I don't know. It's never kind of hard to think of the 3 dimensions in a wall. Even though we kind of stare in 2 dimensions for the most part.
I mean, if I see a wall of that size, looking the way that it does in that Nightmare Fuel, because yeah, as a kid, that wall scared me. And suddenly that thing is doing pirouettes all over the floor. Yeah, I might be running too. That doesn't seem like a situation I want to be a part of.
This is actual Ruby. We saw elements, I think, in the football defense. Hey, are we going to take the Rosa? No,
we're not.
Interesting. So we're going to go full Berserker. If you're not taking a mage outside of Tella, it looks like full Berserker is on the table, which is interesting. I mean, you can pretty much kind of go power overwhelming over a lot of the seed, and it makes sense. But there are gonna be spots where Tella isn't going to bail you out of certain, kind of like maybe like an Ogo, just anywhere on the moon. It's gonna make your life pretty miserable. So it's an interesting gamble. I mean, it looks like Zeke took Porm. I didn't. So it looks, and Tella was Zeted. That's it. So Sid is the anchor. That's an interesting decision there.
Yeah, I mean, we got to figure on McBain's side. You're looking at the damage you're already putting out. Right now, you're probably considering, if I happen to find a Cecil on my route here, I do have to get through Baron and Sand Ruby at least, so that's already 2 guaranteed checks. There's your Earth Crystal too, so there's now, at minimum, already 4 possible characters you can look for, given your objectives that you'll have to do, and then actually 5 of them, because you could also check with Darkness Crystal. So you're probably sitting there being like, I can find a Cecil. I've already done Ordeals, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. You never even know who could be the dupe. Also, Zeke just wiping there. Ooh, that's going to hurt. So you never know what the dupe even is. The dupe happens to be, I don't know, like Edge out of some craziness. I don't know how the no dupes work in terms of what gets picked, or if it's just literally whatever's available to you. But you're probably thinking, I can just, if I can find somebody to replace that Sid, I'm just dancing at this point.
The replacing Sid, although I don't think in Zeke's case, you don't want to replace the Sid because he's the anchor for McBain. There are character checks left. Obviously, Cecil is the end game goal. Actually, it could be worthwhile to take a second edge. We have so much Hanzo Steel that we could probably take on a second edge if that is the dupe. We haven't figured out who the dupe is yet. There's still plenty more of the seed to go. But it looks like McBain has decided, let's check on who are our bosses. Do we even want to take a look? Do we even want to face them? Because they're not required, but there's still that, 10% chance, hey, they may actually be required. And we don't want to, we don't want to be kind of last locationing them if we don't have to. And Tower Key being the key item, so we'll probably still see McBain down here a little bit longer.
And Zeke again just resetting out, so having a little bit of trouble here. This is maybe where you wonder if you still want to keep taking a crack at this, or maybe even take a look at that Twin Heart, but still trying to push through. Believes that he has the ability to do so, just maybe isn't setting up or getting the right kind of luck here, so we'll see. Also, Tower Key from the freebie, so As Sheep Launcher saying in the chat, no need for a keyless tower play. Unfortunate. We always like a good gamble, but now it's something that you'll probably look at. So a lot of choices already for McBain. You got Earth Crystal if you wanted to try to see if you can finish off that party. We see potentially Water Hag and CPU. So if it's Water Hag, that's basically 2 fights right there. I don't know how On Gauntlet is in the Leviathan spot. I think just it might be a little troublesome, but again, you got some power. So we'll see.
I'm trying to think of the All Gauntlet. Oh, it's All Gauntlet.
Ooh.
It's not... The biggest difficulty of the All Gauntlet, regardless of whether it's King Queen, is the mostly the clappers. So if you don't have enough lightning resistance, you're gonna have a bad time, and you definitely want to spend your hourglasses, if there are any, on the second to last or the very last part of the All Gauntlet, as dual clappers. Not a lot of fun. The fact that there's no like dragon armor or dragon weaponry available. Like Kane's best weapon, Dragon Spear, well, at least one of his best weapons, at least I think it's his best weapon, kind of trivializes a lot of at least the back end of that fight. So, but the front end usually not as concerning. But I mean, with the early Runex, you can take care of the Conjurers, which are the ones doing the summoning, and they can probably one shot at this point. I'm not sure what the levels are, but they can be one shotable. But the Clappers are the most dangerous because their attack blitz, unless you have lightning resistance, gonna drop you half of your HP, and not even just like half of your max HP. So that's usually pretty significant damage, regardless of how much HP you have.
Well, with significant damage, we still see Zeke wiping again, 2 bombs away from finishing and just not being able to get through. Just Mom Bomb is not cooperating at all here. And you really got to feel for Zeke now, because you know that the pressure is really on, knowing that you're up against McBain, who, like we said at the beginning, is very experienced. And you're got to be wondering, oh god, is McBain already like well through this? Like, how far back am I getting the longer I take in this? That's not a place you want to be in. That's a headspace that if that were me right now, I would be all over mentally, just thinking how far behind I'm already getting and continue to be if I can't get through this again. So yeah, really feeling for Zeke on this one, and hoping this is finally the final fight up here, because it's not getting fun to watch. It hurts. Ooh, it hurts.
McBain is taking on Odin. Shouldn't be too bad. You're not really concerned about the spell when Odin does his slicing spell of sorts. It's not gonna hurt. They'll probably take Teller down. In terms of Zeke, I think the thing is about getting the Porum but not like trying to get her any levels is kind of a punishment. Like basically, she's not gonna she doesn't have enough levels. That means she's kind of not contributing at all. So that makes getting through this spot becomes risky, and you're not getting XP. So having Porum fall is not a problem, but having characters stay up is going to be the problem. And fortunately, this time around has moved forward, at least from that, and probably will do the safety save immediately before taking on the Dark Imps.
And also McBain getting through the top of tower, although I did not see what McBain got. Also, shout out to Professor Renderer for the 2-person raid. Welcome to this group stage between McBain and Zeke as we get into this play in here. So yeah, if chat can give me a heads up what the key item was there from top of tower, while McBain is now doing the super cannon with a different set of 3.
It looks like hand, that's what I see in the tracker.
Yeah.
And which makes the routing much easier. Once you complete a tower, you're gonna go to Safe Cave, do a bonk. Maybe if you get the Luca key, maybe route into Sealed Cave. Otherwise, gonna probably finish the rest of the. But since Office is alone, we don't care. But this is the super cannon cell. We could have just flamed and could have taken care of them all. But okay, it's fine. hoping for Lukaki, if just to clean out the underground for the most part. Outside of, we're still having to come back to do the forge.
And if that's not the case, you have right now in your hand 3 checks with Sylph and then the 2 Sheilas. So that gives you a definite chance to find a couple of the things you're missing. Obviously, we're going to see that first objective finish, as Zeke, also speaking of getting finishes, into the underground, finally, after just mercifully getting through that annoying Mom Bomb fight. But yeah, the Pan and the 2 Sheilas and the Sylph can give you all the things you're missing, which could be Darkness, which could be Baron Key, Sand Ruby, Legend Sword, a lot of things that could really push McBain even further into getting towards the end of the seed. So finding the Pan there is fantastic. Not to mention, I just realized you still haven't checked Super Cannon, so you have 4 cracks at anything that can give you some more direction or just some more objectives done. So a pretty good tower so far, especially if Super Cannon comes through here, which we will see in just a moment.
Yeah, so I think so it's about a 10-minute difference between when McBain finished his hook route and Zeke just completing the hook route. So that's a pretty significant difference. So there's still time left on the proverbial clock, but time to be made up in trying to be efficient on doing all the other things. So that's a lot of time to be made up. So we'll see how that is made up. McBain is deciding let's bunk before leaving, and Kanda wondering where the darkness crystal is lying. That is the real question at this point.
Yeah, and we will see shortly if it's maybe here itself. Obviously, we still have the 2 Sheila checks. You still have Harp. You still have Tower of Zot. You probably do those in Junction, depending on what you find at either of them if you end up going that way. But we'll definitely see. So Sylph gives us the Pinktail. Hey, there's the Adamant armor you were looking for. So, you want to talk about jetting McBain even further, that's probably going to make that edge in a real happy place.
Yeah, there are plenty of characters that are perfectly suitable for Adamant Edge. Probably on the top of my list, mostly because his damage scaling increases kind of like double, like the way things work compared to other characters, that having 2 weapons on Edge kind of effectively doubles the attack power bonus that would be normally applicable for single weapon users like Kane. So, and although Cecil's still perfect candidate for, but Cecil's not in seed yet, so until he appears, we pretend he doesn't exist, because you can't assume you're gonna get that character until he actually shows up. So probably the first probably should be the primary character receiving the Adamant, especially with both perfect Hands of Steel on the table. You couldn't ask too much more for a perfect setup for at least one character for Z.
Well, gonna do those Sheila checks. Looks like Zeke is gonna save just to probably see what that blue robe is. Gonna find the All Gauntlet and probably know about that. Maybe he takes a shot at CPU. I would doubt it. That's a long fight unless you really want. It is possible Zeke gambles this, maybe thinking that, why would McBain want to do CPU right now when, he could do it faster if he's way ahead of me. Maybe you do gamble on that CPU. We'll see. But I would imagine checking the blue ropes first to see if it's a water hag and get that free fight done. But we know it's not, unfortunately.
Sheila 2 having the Baron key, so that's definitely what McBain is likely gonna run. Actually, no, Twin Harp into Earth Crystal into Baron. That would be the perfect routing play, given that there hasn't been Harp, hasn't been Earth Crystal, but Baron, I guess, going directly to Baron because it's required. So I guess that, McBain doesn't probably maybe interested in the character itself, but not. Doesn't really need it because you have an online edge. You don't need that much. Don't really need a significant cohesive power. Although CPU, taking on CPU, which is an interesting choice. A lot of runners would, I would just avoid CPU like the plague, but I wouldn't avoid plague.
Well, like I said, maybe it's a gamble at this point because you've wiped so many times the Mom Bomb that you're just thinking, okay, if I happen to do this and get Darkness Crystal, although resetting, just realizing it's just going to take way too long. So I can understand the thinking though. You know, if you could have done enough damage to at least make it worth your while and happen to get the Darkness Crystal, which would be a big change, assuming, you know, it has some of the things you're looking for, but now that we know the Baron Key is already sitting in Sheila, well, your options are starting to get limited here, so Zeke now going to follow in the tower. Going to find the good news at least, but at this point, just following McBain, which is not helping this gap at all. And now that McBain's got Adamant armor, that gap is going to probably start increasing too.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, if you want to do CPU early, you have to probably have, like, the spoon. I think the X-Cal is on the tip. I'm not... If Zeke looted the X-Cal, that might be worthwhile. Like, usually bosses that are tanky, we're talking maybe a buy-in CPU demist, you know, bosses that not so much have a lot of HP but have a lot of kind of defensive mechanisms that would make them kind of longer fights than you'd like. And look, that should be Water Hag, because we know that is Alt Gauntlet. Alt Gauntlet was in the King spot, so this should be 1 and done. 3 damaging hits. Missing is makes you feel bad a little though.
Well, the only thing that really makes me feel bad in this fight is having to sit through a cutscene of Anna saying the same dialogue over and over again, and I cannot even hit A fast enough to make it go away. So that's really the only pain you're going to see in this fight.
I guess, but would you like to be interested in flags over no free bosses where you actually have to take down the punchy monster? I don't know.
Well, in the bargain slot, it wouldn't have hurt me too badly here, but depending on the spot, I wouldn't want to deal with that. No, I think I'm okay with this now that you put it to me that way.
Well, another water being has decided to take over the throne. Not Kinazu, but Leviathan. So that should be pretty quick. Shouldn't be too long. They'll still get a wave off, but not too bad.
Yeah, I don't think 25% of your HP is going to make McBain worry too much here, especially when Kinazu doesn't get too much HP in this spot usually, so Leviathan's not going to see much either.
There is a lot of magic defense in this spot. Even like vanilla Kinazu, even when struck with Tella using Lit 3, still takes a while to get through. But that's it. But you're punching the wet noodle, so no problems there. Reorganizing, because you want to get all your battle ready items at the top of the list, speeding up, and because it doesn't take too much additional time for when you're doing inventory management, like using like a siren or whatever in battle. It's hard, and hey, we have the twin that casts the other magic,
or twin that did cast the other magic and is now gone. No point in staying there. Like we said, Tell is probably going to be the anchor at this point, so you're not really going to take on a mage at this juncture. You're pretty much just playing the game of, I'm attacking. Oh, hi, Golbez, helping push the wall in. Thank you. It's good to see you're getting over your evil ways there. Being very helpful. Nice charity work there, Golbez.
I don't know. Is this the statues appearing out of nowhere? They are pretty. They're nice tweak to the. Oh, there's a package that we don't need. And that's not the Sandrobi, so probably we'll do the Twin Harp / Breast Crystal next, as there should be on the way. Right now it's the kind of the race to get the Darkness Crystal. Oh, we're gonna do this the basement check in Baron, which isn't too shabby, but they are kind of the same, similar to the Fey March bosses, but in terms of difficulty and although the Odin spot has really high spell power, so could be a route if, say, something like Maga Sisters show up or something like that.
But if it's King and Queen, we know Maga Sisters is already off the table, so if we come in here and we see a Sparkle, that could be interesting. Ooh, that doesn't make me too happy.
I'm not threatened. If you have Moon Veils, you just have to tank the hits, which Kane is like, ha ha ha, it doesn't hurt. It tickles. So just waiting. So probably want to wait for some Star Veils to pop up after the fires, trying to. Oh no, we're gonna just go punch them. Okay, we'll see if that pays up. But the reflected viruses can be scary.
That's what my worry is coming into this fight with a physical party. You're like, I'm gonna have to hopefully get this done real quick, and I don't know if McBain has the weapons to do that fast enough.
I mean, the Star Veils are the best answer, but we'll see how this pays. This is probably not going seeing the damage. That's the one hit virus wipe. It's only going to take them one more round to take them to be wiped. So probably smart idea just to reset right now. It's too late. Yeah, there we go. Zeke is doing the at least checking the shops. Might try to route in for a different character because that looks like thing to do. Oh no, not interested. Okay, so just doing Twin Harp and Earth Crystal at this point because that. Oh, we're doing Zot first, right? Or are we checking the public treasury? At this point, public treasury not necessary, but looks like okay, we're doing Zot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier when we were talking about the potential, treasury is almost not necessary with the kind of loot that you have. I mean, unless you're really just hoping for power shirts and stuff. I don't know if you're necessarily looking at treasury and thinking I need anything too much of this. Like I said, life staffs are off the table, Stardust are off the table. You have a white spear, you have edge fully equipped up, so you're not necessarily looking for anything really that bad. You even have 2 crystal rings. Like, you have a pretty good set of gear. So in McBain's case, it's probably just wiser to skip the, probably 2 minutes it would take you to finish it and go just see what your 2 characters at the top of Zod are. Hopefully see a Cecil there. That'll definitely make things even better. Probably say bye to Sid at that point. So, we'll see how that goes. Zeke, in the meantime, dealing with that evil wall. Did buy some sirens too, so you do have potential grinding as well if you need it, just to kind of help this out a little bit more, especially for that Porum, but we'll see what happens on both ends.
Trying to do a key item count. I think Zeke is just behind a Pink Till and a Baron key. Like, McBain is already online for any sort of grind, as has the 10 key items. Zeke is just 8. So we'll see how that goes. Looking at the character, it's a Rosa. We'll see if Zeke decides to forgo. Oh, nope. Nope. So both runners have decided, hey, just punch all the things and have the old man occasionally berserk a character or 2, just because. Oh no. Oh wait. No, Zeke doesn't even have the old man. So it's Porum. It's too late for Rosa because Porum is already here.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at McBain's case, Tell is your anchor, so no need for Rosa. In Zeke's case, you're probably just looking at that Porum thinking, I've already done the work getting Berserk, and at this point, do I really want to go through the trouble of grinding another White Mage up? So, just sticking with that. As we see here, so Rydia is our first. We'll see who's in the chair. Still haven't seen our dupe yet either, so, we're going to eventually start running out of options on what we may have. Young is still on the table. Fu is still yet to be found, Cecil's yet to be found, and I think the dupe. So I think we're just about through everybody. Oh no, and Eddie, of course. I keep thinking we've seen Edward, but Zeke's throwing us off with the cascade of Edward names here.
What, did you want second Edward? There's a dupe Sid, so that's kind of unfortunate for character check. So, but that means the character you might actually want is on the moon. Probably only kind of Bonk is a Yang, but we don't know who is at the Sand Ruby or at the package either. So it could the worst case I think for McBain, well not worst case, for at least in terms of a character check would be a Yang on the moon. But other than that, I mean, this looks like to be the final party for McBain if a character, an undesirable character is on the moon.
Yeah, and at this point, unless he just decides to go off the beaten path a slight bit and just peek that package to see if Cecil's there, but I don't think he will. Even if you get the Sand Ruby, unless the Sand Ruby comes here right now, this very moment, or a Twin Harp if he decides to check Twin Harp, I don't think we're going to see any new characters either, because at this point, you've done so much that it's probably not worth the trouble of starting from 1 again with Cecil. So we'll see. Especially when you haven't found a Crystal Sword either, it's not exactly like a be-all, end-all that you have to go. So, but we'll see. We'll see what the key item comes out of Tower of Zod, and we'll see what Bane does with that.
I think XCal was on the table. I think Zeke had. I don't remember which runner had fully cleared. I think they both did.
Yeah, I think they both have XCal, but Crystal just makes it a lot more easier for you to go, okay, fine, I'll do a little bit of work on the Cecil, because it is Crystal Sword.
Not sure how many Star Veils have gone up, but Golbez likes doing magic tricks. Looks like I'm just gonna keep Edge alive, which is more than enough. I mean, you only need one character to live, and if Edge is the one who lives, that's fine. It just one with the Adamant anyways. So if the only spell that doesn't care for Adamant armor is Virus, so that would be devastating to be afflicted by that. Then not a problem for McBain. I mean, just need one character, and Zeke turning in the pink tail for the Adamant probably would give it to his Edge, because I mean, you already have his best weaponry. Pair it up with the Adamant, always a good time.
You sure you wouldn't want to put on that Porum? I don't know, man.
Porum can take a nap any day, anywhere. Get the Berserker with all the goodies. No, there are instances where you do want a Porum with the Adamant. Like, say you had a lot of. Maybe you have like a set of mages, like with an Eddie or something like that, like a Rydia.
I was gonna say when you have 4 Adamant armors, but.
Well, yeah, but there, as has been said before, like having more Adamant armors kind of has diminishing returns. Looks like McBain has decided. I'm more confident in being able to take on the Lunars. Hopefully, maybe we'll try a different strategy than to try to punch them, because those usually, and again, this is the spot. High spell power means don't want to punch them. Probably best, especially at lower levels or lower HP levels. Just try to just let them breathe on themselves, reflect the breath. Does not have the boss bit, so they can afflict themselves with breath. That is one of the cool things about kind of the details in trying to not just speedrun, but just kind of optimizing your fights.
Yeah, at least now, you know now with Tower of Zod being done that you're not going to get much more help party-wise, so you're just going to have to take this fight a little bit slower. You do know that you still have Twin Harp, you still have the Fey March bosses. At this point, you're probably just banking that this is the correct option because you're just praying for that Darkness Crystal right now. So, but at least somebody giving the people what they want. Zeke taking a visit to Cave Magnus, so we're going to be getting some music soon. Always happy to see that. Yeah, expecting miracles out of Tella and his magic. Usually not the thing to do. But with all those Cure 3s, I don't remember where that was purchased, but it's coming in really handy because undead don't like healing. And also, it doesn't trigger their wall, which is the most important part. So it is a nice way to get some damage in without having to do the physical. Although, choosing now that I've done enough damage, now we're going for violence.
Yeah, so, at this spot, looks like Tella survives with 1 HP. That's, the brilliance of rounding.
And gets the kill, too.
Yeah, do we have a cursed ring, though? I don't think we found one this early. But not the objective. That's fine. That just means that we know where objective is, which actually Zeke is at. The tables have turned a little bit, right?
Well, I mean, it also could be at the Fey March, but it looks like now McBain's like, all right, fine, I'll
So, just to let you know, we know there's always going to be heart music, but hey, this is a randomizer. Has been decided. Hey, let's put a different tune there. So, and there's like a whole host of them, like over 400. and we'll let our star of the show play his music. So that was a quick fight, but reprisal.
You know, we talk about chains all the time when we do races. That is my favorite kind of chain. Music into music, the best chain. And also a Luca key, so not necessarily required, but might also be a chain, so who knows?
Yeah, looks, and probably the first thing McBain will do. Zeke, on the other hand, has not done the Zot check, so is doing that check. I mean, from a routing standpoint, Zeke is going to get some time back from basically optimal routing. Has not done the Baron. I don't think has done the Baron, just the Baron Liberation yet. So that will be essentially after doing Zot, we'll do Baron immediately after. So McBain only really has like one route to go, is to go back to the underground. Whether it's doing Luca, probably just peak Luca. If it's not there, then we know where it is. So that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the downside though for Zeke is that we continue this path of neither's really going off the beaten path at this point. They're kind of going the similar routes, so like we're really running out of gambles here. So the longer this goes, the more and more that unless Z ends up causing problems, it still seems like McBain's well in the driver's seat here, unless just, you know, they both have to go to Fey March and one just does a fight over the other and gets the thing they need. So it'll be interesting because the Darkness Crystal is going to be so key now, because it pretty much almost is a guarantee at this point that the Darkness Crystal is going to hold at least something that you need apart from just cave value. So yeah, although McBain actually did check that package, which I'm surprised by, but it's just a spoony bard, so you're not going to do much with that. Not at this point. Not even with a spoon either, so that's kind of a useless endeavor. So yeah, we're probably going to be clearing the rest of the underground now.
And there's not too many characters left in the seed. I mean, there's Yang, Cecil, Fu, and that. And yeah, that's. Well, I think we're doing the peak here, so it's to kind of call back a little bit to what happened in the Dark Elf fight. So so I think I saw I think Zeke's Porum was bonking. One of the things you kind of don't want to do is what they call turn economy. Like, so that Porum bonking is kind of like a waste of animation. She didn't contribute much to the fight. Like a parry, or just not taking the turn, just parrying would save a little bit of time. Now, obviously, not a deal breaker, but it's kind of one of those things where sometimes if you, in certain instances where you want to do some optimizations, sometimes having a character do nothing is better than doing something. It's time spent doing nothing. It's kind of like it's like having like mages try to smack Val at certain areas. Sometimes it's just a waste of time. So probably won't be the difference, but like, you know, things like that do add up over time. Like kind of like having like, you know, certain scenes where you have like 2 boomerangs and having Edge just swing just tossing both of them at the same time.
Well, the Seal Cave is required, but still no Darkness Crystal, which means Darkness has to be at Feymarch at this point. But you do get the Legend Sword, you do get an X-Cal. I guess Edge has a dart at this point, so we'll see if that gets used. And also what's here. Oh, there's the Dark Elf again.
Very free. The only threat is really the weak follow-in back into the tri-elemental attack. So, but usually nothing, but practically free. And in most cases, White Spear will take advantage of Dark Elf's holy weakness to. Although no, it looks like Kane has the defense sword, which is generally better, but for this fight would probably have saved a bit of time. Yeah, it's just fine. Zeke getting the bad news. It's not a key item needs. So, but we'll still. What is at Baron? We'll do the Baron required check to liberate the place.
Yeah, and in McBain's case, yeah, you know, Kane and Sid aren't doing as much damage, but Edge is sitting there just doing 2,000 and has adamant armor on, so you're not too concerned. Oh, hey, we got a Dragoon Sir Galahad there now with a piggy Kane.
You know, the pig sprite on the character is pretty cute. I mean, the version on the monsters is arguably just as cute. It's a visual that is kind of is very unique. I enjoy that sprite. It's kind of there's some of them that might have interesting shades of pig. Let's just say that.
Hey, bacon's bacon. What's the difference?
I don't know. I've been told that Canadian bacon is better, but then I'm also told it's more like ham. So it's hard to tell. Bacon is bacon.
As a Canadian, I will tell you it is better, but I wouldn't know the difference because we drizzle maple syrup all over it anyway, so we kind of dilute it.
That does sound sweet. So yeah, having Tella, especially as your anchor, makes a lot of things convenient. Like having the warp spell makes kind of taking a walk out of this cave much more scenic, I guess. I mean, I love walks. I like exercise, but warp is usually the better strat. I mean, it's sometimes preferred over Sid, just because you know, magic gets you in and out of places a bit quicker, except for places that don't allow for either, such as Mount Ordeal. So, and McBain has decided, yeah. So which punishment do I want? Alt Gauntlet or CPU? I like Alt Gauntlet better at this point.
It's hard to say because CPU is the one that you know you can do. It's just it takes time. Alt Gauntlet can have a little more danger factor to it, so we'll see.
But I think it's the grind that you get out of the Alt Gauntlet. Even if it's not what you want, it's kind of the grind you actually kind of need. And McBain has both runners have 10 key items, so it might save you a bit of time just doing the Alt Gauntlet first to get the grind done effectively, and then CPU is a little bit easier to take on. Just there's just nothing that will speed up a CPU other than just smashing it faster. What it amounts to.
You also had the option too of going to take that Legend Sword and Adamant in to get that extra Excalibur, which could have been a throw for that CPU fight as well. So could have been played a little bit better for damage, but again, it's still a fight you'll win. It's just a matter of how long.
Yeah, there are sometimes where when you have power overwhelming and you're just gonna just push through it aggressively. Literally go swag rocks and try to get as much damage on CPU before Globe 199 kind of ruins your day a little bit. So there could be some aggression. I'm not sure if we found our source of Bacchus wines, but it would speed up the fight a little bit. Oh no, we're going full aggression, taking out the attacker. Not even going to. We're going. Oh no, made a mistake. I guess that was the wrong. Of course, you don't want to attack the attacker. Like the original strat is, take out the defender and then try to kind of slowly take on the CPU itself.
And again, it really is a free fight. It's just a matter of how long do you feel like just slogging through it and just mercilessly getting through whatever you can. At the very least, you do have two attackers that can bypass with Kane's jump, and you do have some throws you can do with Edge. So at the very least, you're not spending the entire fight just attacking a back row character. You're at the very least going to get some damage done. So it's not the worst case scenario.
I think the issue, indirectly, is that we haven't back row glitched Edge or back row glitched even Sid. Sid is probably easier to back row glitch. Edge, we need to find a boomerang for. So it's basically kind of lost damage potential. But yeah, the additional not doing the forge just to get the free Excal, so we can just throw it on the CPU is certainly going to be a time loss. It'd probably be worse if this spot doesn't pay off to being the Darkness Crystal.
I'm trying to catch what McBain did with Tella here. Oh no, I thought for a second there, I'm like, are you still casting something? I thought for a second, was he trying to do Neo with Tella there? But no, we're just going for pure aggression at this point.
I think it's probably on the back. Maybe try to start it at some point where maybe the CPU is near dead. I think at least in the Queen spot, there's not as much HP to go through. It's like it's a bit over 20,000, so it's not too bad. But the other issue that comes with it though is when you leave the attacker to its own devices. You can't heal up all that HP with Tella's healing regen, but the main CPU's down. Just have to take care of the attacker. Try to get that down before attacker gets two more attacks in, because that means Kane will fall and not get the XP. Probably wants to keep Kane alive. But there it goes. The only question though, so. Have we found a cursed ring yet? Because we can't really get proper anchoring. Now that CPU required. Gauntlet, not sure if that is required, because could be the Sand Ruby. Probably be wise to save, but looks like going to take on the Gauntlet, because that's an interesting choice if that is the case.
Zeke also finishing the D-Lunars. We got some more adorable sprites in the frogs, because we did get that breath reflected. However, didn't get anything you want, so that's an unfortunate reset, and we'll see if McBain is making too aggressive a call here by taking on this All Gauntlet. But we'll see. We'll see, because that CPU fight's no joke. I'm surprised that you don't save after that annoyingly long fight, but probably confident that this is an All Gauntlet that will not have too much of an issue with, so we'll see.
I think the damage is on point. As long as there's an hourglass for at least the very last part of the fight, then it should be relatively safe. The kind of the fights into aren't too bad themselves. They're just kind of like filler. They're not. I mean, like the things that get summoned, not really threatening either. It's just that they're annoying, and it's just a slog. So the Arachne, not too bad. Still will require Kane to take down. Arachnes are weak, have an ice and projectile weakness. But the Quake, not the scary part. Oh no, still using the defense sword, so it could kind of slow down a little bit. Might be more productive trying to just use Sid with the Rune Axis to directly go at the Conjurer, but still not too much HP to go through. Still many more fights to go though.
So you're getting a good bit of a grind in too before heading into the Feymarch to do the exact same things that we were just watching McBain go through. We'll see if Zeke decides to go for the CPU first as well and find that Darkness Crystal, or if we go to the Gauntlet, where we are yet to see what the result of that will become. But we are, I believe, in the third fight, so we will be seeing that shortly on McBain's end.
Single target stone? Not. No. Stone can be used on multiple targets, and Conjure doesn't have that resist. Maybe just mistargeted. But oh well. That battle's done. That should still not too long. You know, this is a few moments where you feel like a Mute Knife would save a little bit more time. Yeah, you have the mouse moves, but those racial multipliers, you know, Mute Knife being very effective against mages would make Edge a little more effective. Sid, you can't really tweak, but yeah, that's okay. Clapper shouldn't be too long for this world, although, but it might make I think it might make the next fight very spicy.
ZenoCat in the chat making a good point as well, that if Zeke does both of these first and gets that Darkness Crystal, you don't want to fade that Seal Cave, because the Seal Cave is required with that Legend Sword. So hopefully Zeke doesn't immediately take to the moon thinking, oh, I've got 6 checks, I should probably get that first. You know, who needs to do the Seal Cave? So, you know, we'll see how that happens here, but for the meantime, McBain one fight away from finishing the Gauntlet here, the double claps, and then we will see what's left here, because at this point, we have the Legend Sword, we're just looking for that Sand Ruby, and we just gotta get K value done. So if we get a Sand Ruby out of this, all we know is we got one quick trip to the moon and we're done.
A lot of just the season general for this flag set, just you're when it comes to like last locationing, and not last location, but like figuring out where the key items that you really need are. Typically, there's a combination of like one moon objective that is required. I mean, we already know we have to do K value, but also having maybe one key item on the moon. So it could be like, so maybe, you know, K value will lead you to the Sand Ruby directly. So that could, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive, but they could combine as anything can. But there's, hoping for not having to do an LST dive, a lunar subterranean dive, but be ideal. But probably will have to happen for this just to get the Sand Ruby, as we know where we know where Forge is, but we don't know where the Sand Ruby is. So kind of in terms, so McBain is in the driver's seat. I did not see what the prize was, but I don't think it's what was needed.
It was just a crystal helmet.
So yeah, so doing Forge, so probably going straight to Cave Valley first, and if the Sand Ruby is not there, gonna have to gamble figuring out where the Sand Ruby is on the moon, as that is the only place it can be.
Well, and this is where it gets interesting too, right? Like, let's assume Zeke doesn't fade Seal Cave and get the Legend Sword, and now we're up on the moon. If McBain goes bottom up and the Sand Ruby is in the top Murasame altar and Zeke goes top down, that changes a lot. That's probably the opening that's really left here, because I can't imagine if they both did bottom down that they take a different route and go like Crystal Sword first rather than Ribbon Room, White Spear. So the door is quickly closing at this point, but depending on what K value shows us, if an LST dive comes in, this can still change if a lot of factors come together. When you do the math though, if it's in the LST, you got a 1 in 5 crack of it being in that top, and you still have to hope McBain goes bottom. This could still be a little bit out of reach, so we'll see, but the likelihood is getting less and less, and we'll know by K value if there even is that chance.
Yeah, I think I can understand, but I think for Zeke's case, it's in his best interest to just even peek a sealed cave, because the key item is what you need. You just need to, you're peeking for the key item, and when you realize under that realization, it will be what he needs to do anyway. So, I think if you're running it, you want to peek the key item of the sealed cave first, so just to determine whether you actually need to commit your time, and it will definitely be as we know, it is required. So, as for finding the last key item, we haven't found the pass yet, so it could be, it might be maybe worth the time to just to check the Mura altar first. It's just, even if it's not the key item you want, if you get the pass, it's still time saved. Although I guess in the same point, because you're gonna have to go back down to the earth to turn in the sand ruby anyways. So that's assuming that K value doesn't have what we're looking for. So if K value is what we're looking for, then we're just gonna have to take a nice afternoon walk into the LST, because who doesn't love walking all the way down LST? Swag walk all the way to Z fight. So I'm thinking it makes sense to try. It makes sense to kind of peek, just to peek the Mur altar, just in case. For Zeke, probably in his best interest, given that he's probably feeling behind for sure.
Although the realization is now coming that if K value doesn't give you the pass, even if this gamble would have worked for Zeke, you still have to go turn in that same ruby and then go back down and do the long walk. So in the case that I'm describing where McBain goes bottom up, you'll probably find the pass, which means you don't have to make that walk back. So yeah, this is a real tough situation. So we'll definitely see. There's still lots of time left here. You still have to check that Cave Bahamut here on McBain's end. You still got to find that Sand Ruby if it's not here. And then you still got a Z fight. So there's still a lot of potentially that can go wrong, but there is also just a really rapidly closing door, and having Zeke sitting at a long CPU fight and still needing to check Seal Cave is just putting McBain in such a driver's seat here.
Yeah, the difference in hook times will probably favor McBain just significantly. We'll see how much time towards the end when they both finish to see how much of a difference it made. There's always time to be saved, especially in Zeke's rounding. Him kind of cut down quite a bit of that. So, this is the kind of the only few spots where you'd have not having a true white mage. Tella is a great utility mage, but casting Q4 on everyone, not his thing. Best can heal 2 with his MP pool, and that might be kind of problematic. But looks like Sid is going to be the designated chemist, because Sid's not going to contribute much offensively. You might as well use him. He's going to be tanking, but will fall up, and Ogo goes down, and we'll see what the key item is. If it's a Sand Ruby, then it's not a good time for Zeke. If it's it's the pass.
Oh, that's potentially worse now.
Yeah, because the guarantees that once McBain finds Sand Ruby, McBain knows what to do. So it's kind of timer has if it hasn't been started, it certainly is now.
Well, it may have been also closed at this point, because Zeke did skip out on the Seal Cave. So if Zeke goes and full clears the moon here, that's just not good. But again, you're looking at the moon, like I said earlier, it's 6 checks. And you're thinking, if I check Seal Cave, I'm already way behind. That's another like 2-3 minutes I'm losing. Do I want to give that up? So I completely understand why you're making the call to go moon first, because you're thinking, okay, everything's got to be on the moon. What are the chances that, you know, the one thing I still need is sitting in the seal cave? It's just, there's not a whole lot you can do. And hey, Cecil is still not there, so maybe I'm completely in the right that Cecil is in my favorite place on the Giant. It's a 50-50 shot now.
I mean, it's whatever's at the Sand Ruby spot, or the Giant. Yeah.
You're gonna get a Cecil or a Fu at the very end at Sand Ruby. What a seed to have that possibility on you, and probably not take either of them.
I mean, the only character change that might make sense would be like Fu in the Sand Ruby bed, and that would be it. That might be if a change happens, that would be the only thing just to replace Sid, because but that's assuming you want the extra spells. Sid will still be able to tank all the damage, but looks like McBain has decided top down is the play. Not sure we'll directly to Crystal, probably more likely to go to the ribbon room after this. But hey, Blarg.
Escron also making the salient point here that technically this is a bracket seed at this point, because we're not going to probably see Fu or Cecil in it.
The seed has jokes. It has told one. And unfortunately, McBain didn't save after this, so we'll see that sequence again. Might probably make sense to just save this just in case Blarg doesn't go well. Still not quite sure of the anchoring situation. I mean, that Tell has gained some levels. Oh, nope. Yang is the anchor now. That has been decided.
So we just don't need spells. Well, I mean, you got a punch mage. That's a spell, right?
I think that might be an error though. Like wow, do we have an exit? We're gonna yeah, we have the pass, but we don't have anyone to get out of this lunar subterranean with.
Well, there is the possibility that, you know, he's doing this specifically for Wyvern, and if it doesn't give him what he wants, then he just resets again. That's also a possibility.
I mean, the walk isn't too long. Fortunately, at least I'll agree with that. The walk.
Yeah, if this is Sand Ruby, the walk isn't terrible. But if you continue on like this, yeah, that won't be a great idea. That's why I'm assuming that that's what's going on.
It's interesting play, and I mean, at least now I don't disagree. It's like, wait, we're gonna actually do this? No, it actually makes sense. We can actually, it's not the worst idea actually at this point, because like Sid is totally not on an agility level that you want to be at. Stock Yang is what, at 8? It should be fine. Telot's definitely way out of whack a little bit. Like, it's too high. Probably too high. You've had Tella upright for a lot longer, and those levels. The old man. He's a spry man. He's a spry old man. He's quicker. He's deceptively quick, as they say.
And the upside too is, let's assume this is actually Sand Ruby. Well, you know that you have an anchor, and even if you wanted to replace that Yang anyway, you could just replace it with potentially Fu. So, you know, not too bad. Although now Yang's getting 19 levels, so you know, I guess now we want to punch a little bit. And hey, it's worth nothing. So yeah, there's the reset.
So yeah, we need to keep the Tella though. That's kind of like the same. It's kind of like the problem, but at least it's Blarg that is not required. That's the fortunate. But this is the third time we've seen this sequence on.
Yeah, I hope you guys like this cutscene, because this is now the third, and you're going to see it again on Zeke's side shortly, because Zeke is about to make that LST dive.
Yeah. So for Zeke, the LST dive is a little bit more interesting. Because we know we picked up the pass, so he knows that at least one of the key items, well, doesn't know, but it's only the Sand Ruby that's going to be there. And unfortunately, that means it's going to be meaning a full clear, even if they don't take the rewards, but what's effect going to be is a full clear. So yeah, so I don't think there are too many bosses on the table for McBain. Outside of maybe like a DKC, I think that's the only like one root boss that's left on the table that has not shown up yet.
Yeah, and at this point too, because Zeke doesn't have that Legend Sword still, Zeke's gonna basically full clear this and find not what he needs. So again, like, even if they go shot for shot in the LST here going bottom up, like, McBain's still well within the driver's seat, because as soon as he finds the Sand Ruby, he's gone. And if it's right away in Ribbon Room, he's already gone, and Zeke still has 4 checks to do. So this is just... I don't want to say this race is basically over, but it's really looking that way now.
I mean, right now, the only concerns of the fight is just who the anchors will be. But I mean, we're gonna replace whatever in the Sand Ruby spot most likely. Although Fu in that spot, not ideal. But then again, you have power overwhelming with Edge and Kane, who is likely gonna take up the slack. So it's still it can be, Z fights can be spicy given the certain setups. But they plague.
Doable, just irritating, because now you have to pay a little bit more attention to how everything's timed here. So this would have been a great spot to find a King Queen Evelyn. That would have been a fantastic spot to find it, but nope. Yeah. Unless King Queen already showed up, I don't remember now.
I think it showed up a bit earlier in the seed. Not that concerned. Kane has been wielding that defense sword for a bulk. I think Tella's berserk because we're trying to clog the queue. Tella's gonna contribute nothing of offensive worth. It's just okay. But yeah, the White Spear picked up earlier in the seed could have been used in like at least 2 or 3 different battles. The Dark Elf, and I'm forgetting some other battle, and the Plague. The Alt Gauntlet for the Clappers, because they're weak against projectiles. Spear considered a projectile? Well, not really. It's really just a wind elemental. But yeah, but this Plague shouldn't be too long. The great thing about kind of screwing over Plague is Berserk. Clogging the queue does wonders.
And Tella getting the final hit just makes it that much funnier. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Hey, a Magma Key at an hour 32? That sounds about right.
Hey, let Tella bonk things. Not really a thing, but kind of. It's funny when it does land. Oh, this.
Well, it's totally going to give you a key item, right? Oh. No, this is just pure annoyance now. Now Tella has a purpose. Try to slow it down.
The nuisance part is really when it gets into mist phase, where it can't take any damage. The only thing that it will still damage it would be HP leak from virus, but even then, that's not a very wide window of damage. So Berserk is out of the question. You can do some creative things like trying to queue up a jump, trying to kind of get to edge, try to get something darted into demist. Things that are more productive. So we'll see if this is it. But fortunately, since the flag to require demist having a key item is off, we picked it up. We picked up the key item from Edward, an hour and a half ago. Demist itself does not provide a key item. Just the altar itself will provide the item.
And you know how irritating the fight is to McBain, because he wasted both his Excaliburs on it. So Z is at least looking at it being like, all right, well, this isn't nearly as bad. But all of a sudden, a white shirt comes out of it. We are still checking. And I think at this point, McBain is letting these fights slide because, well, this is just your XP to go into Z with at this point, so...
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's... I guess McBain is really not concerned. I mean, of the levels. I mean, the anchoring situation will be resolved just on whoever is at the Sand Ruby spot required, so we know who we're replacing with. And will it be DKC at this spot? Could be some shenanigans. No, it's dance party.
I mean, there's some shenanigans if it's a dance party.
I guess. Could be. At least its fight will be quick. Mylon with probably dealing the most damage with the lit ones, I guess. With the occasional punch. Just be forewarned. Don't just go after Mylon and leave his undead dance party alive. They punch really hard.
No. You let the dance party live in the same way that you cast lit on the tricker. That's the rule.
Oh, that's the trick. Oh, okay. Well, we'll do that. I'll do that someday. Yeah. They're just. Lit one is not the pinnacle of spells, and Adamant Armor Edge doesn't care. But this spot has incredible, really high spell multiplier value because the Ogo spot, the Masa altar, needs all that magic, even though all of its skills kind of doesn't really need all those spell multipliers. But hey, that's how you tune things. You just put a large number on it, it's done. Ship it.
And in the meantime, we've been talking about McBain's run a lot. Zeke is following suit, obviously, following pretty much check for check, doing Riven Room, getting past that, now doing the D-Miss check, getting Bacchused up, which means you're going to get a couple of cold mists in there, unfortunately, but hey, sometimes you just want things to go faster. A spoon coming out of the Yogo altar, so that means Crystal Sword is hosting what we're looking for now. So one check left for McBain, and then we're done. We will be in go mode after that, just seeing what's at the Sand Ruby, and then we go and see where the fun is at the end of the game. But yeah, we are pretty much going to full clear this entire seed. Good job, Xenocat, for rolling that. And I guess I should take the time too to shout out the rest of our restream team. Like I said, Xenocat, our restreamer, Dubword as the tracker, and then of course myself, CS Radical, and Deathlike in the booth. So give a shout out to everybody in the restream team, not to mention our runners McBain and Zeke as well, doing a fantastic job entertaining us this afternoon with a seed that just really doesn't want to go really fast at all, does it?
The seed has jokes. We're day after April Fools, but no jokes. No, they're all the seed. Oh, this is so free. They still probably need to survive the mega nuke because of the DPS required to take it down low. I guess no. We're just gonna go punch it. It might probably be good enough. It's not too much HP at the Wyvern spot. That's Bahamut's residing in. Who would have thunk it?
And if McBain ever felt threatened, you can quickly wall one of your characters, and it's fine.
And the spot doesn't actually have that high spell power. The Blarg that we speak of actually doesn't have that much spell power. It's kind of ironic. Even Bahamut spot has slightly higher, and yep, it's confirmed. 27 out of 27 objectives. It's 28. But 7 has all the key items. Now knows exactly its actual go mode because I already knew that a boss before that, but hey, it's time.
Oh, we can't do a giant check for posterity's sake? Come on. It's not like this is a race that gets you into a tournament bracket or anything.
No, probably not necessary. But if this Zeke has real jokes, it'll have a Cecil in the bed.
Well, given all that's left, there's not a lot of places that's probably there, unless it just happens to be a package, which would be disappointing.
Looks like McBain has decided, just in case we don't like what's on the bed, let's find an anchor. Choose the anchor. Oh, hey, we found the anchor. It's Radia, level 1 Radia, best anchor in the randomizer in the game ever.
And the true boss of this game too. Hi, inventory.
Inventory boss. We we know you. We know you. We love you, and of course, yeah. It's a time where you think you've done enough spring cleaning in your inventory. Nope, it appears.
There's also something that's amusing about your anchor being basically the child that's not a child in Rydia now. It is grown-up Rydia, but still has the levels of child. Very entertaining. I love it. And hey, it was Fu all along. Sleepy old man. Unfortunately, you do have to wake him up, but he's probably going to go right back to napping, so, you know. You're basically just saying, hey, Gramps, can I have some money so I can go to the diner and get me a milkshake? But otherwise, we're in go mode. Crystal received, and it is time to go see what we're leading into as we head to the pass room and get to our final boss fight.
Late minute swap of our anchor. Interesting. I mean, this is power overwhelming, so probably not as important. We just want I think McBain is doing it mostly for the spells, not so much the anchoring per se. But since doing power overwhelming, it's probably not going to matter too much. HP pool's pretty high on all the characters, having effectively done a full grind of the LST, such a full moon grind. I mean, K-Value, not forgetting that. So, yeah. I think it's about that time that question needs to be asked. I see the flags, these Z flags. Are they telling me to take a nap? It's almost 6 p.m. Eastern. I guess I should be going to bed.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a nap, but I think there may be a different reason behind it. So, when it comes to the randomizer, we can't randomize everything. Unfortunately, Zero Miss is just too powerful a boss fight. You gotta keep him in the spot, you know, that it's accustomed to. It's only fair. So we do the next best thing. We randomize how Z looks. So, with that being said, as we see all the Z flags in the chat and the walk to the final boss fight Among Us, it is time for the most important question that we get to ask this entire stream, and that is what butt, or whose butt I should say, are we going to kick this evening, this afternoon, wherever it is where you may be? But the most important question, because I'm contractually obligated to ask, is it wearing a hat?
Hat's the new butt question? I mean, sure. I mean, there are some butts that wear hats. Don't know. So it means a surprise to everyone. I mean, Z likes to cosplay, so there can be many hats. You don't even know. You don't even know if it is a butt. Or there's a butt to be speaking of. So we'll see who it is. And there's over 500 possible things you can cosplay.
There's a few.
Hey, it's Super Metroid. We're playing Metroid, right? We're doing some sort of like Final Fantasy IV Super Metroid randomizer. Is that what it is today?
I mean, it looks kind of space-ish, so I suppose that it works that we're doing Metroid. You know, it is a nice contrast.
It's so pretty. No hat, but it's pretty.
Look. I know that when I start doing my own runs, there is going to be a temptation for me to, on my own stream, just like superimpose hats on every sprite, just for fun.
What kind of hat would be well-deserved on Crocomus? That's what I'd like to know.
100% top hat. 100% top hat.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of feeling sombrero here.
I mean, propeller cap would also be good. But, like, I'm just thinking, like, this looks... I don't know if it's screaming or yelling. I think it might be singing. I think a top hat might be very nice.
With this power overwhelming, everyone's contributing. I think Sid... I'm not sure if Sid's on the sidelines. Doesn't matter. He have all the Bacchus wine available. Everyone can drink. Fu... no, it needs to be the responsible designated driver in this seed.
Well, you know, somebody's got to be there to heal all the bruises, or I guess the big bangs. Those are kind of dangerous too.
Okay, looks like Sid is just vegan for this fight up their perpetual chemist. That's fine. We just think you need the tank to be an emergency healer, and that's okay. Probably also want to not worry about. I think McBain bought a whole bunch of Bacchus wine, so that's probably that's not a problem when a black hole shows up.
No, and I think it was like either 19 or 20 that he bought, so he was more than ready for all the bosses that were left, and then obviously, getting the last few that you're gonna need for this fight. So that's all gonna be taken care of. And now I'm just looking on Zeke's screen. I feel so bad because now you're doing that seal cave check, and you're like, oh no. Doing the entire moon, that hurts. That's the kind of, when the seed, randos the way that it has to, those are the ones that just make you like, just stare at the ceiling and go, why? Which is probably what Crocomus is yelling right now as it gets very close to being over, because there are the rocks.
Yep, rocks falling means under about 12,000 HP, so not too long for this world. Hoping for direct nuke might be enough. Hoping for it to be enough. We'll see. Nope, not quite enough. Counter nuke, doesn't matter. Kane will tank it, right? Yep.
Edge will deal with everything that you need at this point.
And there it is, the flash bang boom. McBain has finished his seed at a time of 1:47.55. This completion of seed done.
And that means we have Rybon's opponent in the bracket, so that is all set in stone. We have almost every play-in completely finished now, too, so that bracket is nearly ready to go. So with that finish being in, we're just going to wait and see if we are going to get an interview with McBain, once things are set up here. In the meantime, Zeke just finishing up that Dark Elf fight in the Seal Cave to get that final bit with the Legend Sword and get it done with. But yeah, we are joined with McBain. GG's on getting through into the bracket round.
Thank you.
So right off the bat, how's a full clear feel?
It feels great, I guess, for you guys.
I mean, it gave us a lot to work with, that's for sure. Right off the bat, I mean, you're getting a pretty decent start off, like having Edge early in the seed, and then the Evelyn Castle just giving you so much loot. Like, other than the fact that you didn't find an Adamant armor, you must have been absolutely enthusiastic just seeing the sheer amount of loot that those free chests were giving you.
Yeah, it was great, and Crystal Ring's not bad either, and the glass helmet if I can get in trouble. I mean, 2 Mazas, Crystal Ring, and the glass, you survive pretty much anything.
Towards the mid-late game, I think you had to figure it out. Hey, everything is at Feymarch. Everything you needed was at Feymarch. How did you feel about that?
Well, I felt okay. I feel like everyone would do the same thing. I mean, you could say that the CPU was doable early, but I don't feel like something that happened much unless you feel extremely behind. With all the loot that was on the overworld, I felt like this was not a play someone would have done, so I was okay with it.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, it probably was great that you had the chance to clear everything else first, because probably getting that Darkness Crystal early would have kind of pulled you in maybe in a direction where you would have avoided, say, Twin Harp for a while, that would have avoided Sealed Cave. So, like, you had, a good call in making that. CPU is like one of those fights where there is a temptation, but you also know how long that's going to take, so the temptation kind of goes away. By the time the seed was going underground and you started getting the sense of your party, when did you really decide that you just weren't going to be looking at mages at all?
I decided that very early. When I found the cure trees in Baron, I was like, I don't need them.
Who needs healing when you can just spend your way out of the problem, I guess, eh?
Yep, exactly.
Towards the end, I think you did essentially kind of a pseudo top down. You did the Masa. That was you picked up the Yang. It's just anchoring, right? You had, I think, your Sid and your Talha were over leveled, so I assume that was just for that. I mean, three shots at anime at the altar. I mean, that's more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I never do that, and I don't know why I did this. There was no reason to go to Mura first, but I don't know. I did it. Sometimes you just do things.
So we know at this point, with you making it into the brackets, that your opponent is going to be Rybon. So going into the brackets, what are your preparations going to be, both in just preparing for the Flexa in general and specifically for Rybon?
I'm just gonna try to keep things simple, I think, because it's usually the same thing. I get in trouble when I start metagaming, thinking, oh, where is he? Where is he? He usually does this, so I'm gonna do this. And that's when I lose too much time trying to do things differently than my game, because in the end, it doesn't matter his game. It's my game that's gotta be good enough.
Yeah, that's just worrying about what you need to do to win is probably all that matters. Yeah, there's some probably being. I mean, there's a lot more improvement to be done, I'm sure.
There's always improvement.
So with that being said, before we let you go, I wanted to give you a chance. Any last memes, any last jokes, any last comments about the seed that was? Mostly if you just want to blame Xenocat for that, which we'd fully understand.
Well, until that gauntlet, I guess everything was coming up Millhouse.
I love it. I love it.
It's totally accurate.
But yeah, thanks for doing a fantastic race here. We enjoyed the heck out of watching this entire seed, and I do say entire literally. But yeah, GG's and good luck in your match with Rybon and the rest of the bracket if you make it further.
Thank you very much. I look forward to watch this again. I'm sure it's a fun one to watch.
GG's again, McBain.
Thank you very much.
So with that being said, we move to Zeke. Just about to start that Z fight. So Zeke will finish this off. Probably just about to punch the ever-loving heck out of the Z sprite in frustration. And given how the time will probably finish, it really does seem like if he didn't struggle in that Mom Bomb fight, this would have been right down the middle again. Because like I said, their one match in the group stage was less than 20 seconds apart. We think around 10 minutes or so is what Zeke lost in that Mom Bomb fight, and this may literally be that difference.
Yeah, I think what this probably. I mean, if the played out the same outside of the Mom Bomb, that probably would. Though I think there would be some different choices made though, instead of kind of like fading the sealed cave, as we know that was where the objectives happened to be. It's probably that decision might not have been made. It might also have saved some time additionally on top of that. So it's one of those, when this kind of like a decision is made or a mistake, kind of like some kind of bad thing that happens. Like what tends to happen is you fade the solution, you fade what you would have normally done. So it does affect some runners, and some are persistent though. So it's not like there's a wrong answer. It's one of those things would have changed for likely would have changed had the Mom Bomb fight wasn't that so brutal to Zeke. A lot of things at the King Queen Evelyn spot can be pretty tricky to go at. It's like a DKC. There are just bosses that you just do not want to face, and they become a surprise when they show up.
Yeah, and we'll see what the final time. Xenocat's saying in chat that it was around 11 minutes that was lost. So, we'll see with the time, like specifically how close it could have been, assuming that the pathing was the exact same. But you're right. Regardless of what the numbers say at this point, you never know what changes have you not had such a really difficult time with one boss, because now all of a sudden your decisions maybe become a little different. The pressure isn't on nearly as much because you're thinking you're probably keeping pace at worst. So, and we'll obviously get to ask Zeke that if he chooses to take an interview once this run is over. But yeah, this could have been right down the wire level race, and unfortunately, just because of one boss spot, it suddenly turned to a, now that we've seen the whole race, pretty much a really easy one for McBain to go through, just kind of coasting by the end. But this could have been real tight had that Mom Bomb fight been different, or if it was a different boss altogether.
Yeah, so like certain party compositions, I mean, McBain went full berserker. Zeke needed the Porum, but didn't get the Porum up to didn't get any levels of the Porum at the time of the Mom Bomb fight. So Porum wasn't even like reasonably ready to just take the damage. Well, I mean, rarely that Porum could probably take that much damage to survive that. So like, she would have probably been a non-factor for the most part, but maybe with more levels on Porum probably would have done a little bit more. Maybe get a berserk off or even a blink. The Porum without levels is kind of like an anchor. So that's not, and when you get a new character, you don't want your characters being kind of just taking turns that do nothing. And that's what. And sometimes you need even getting a small grind like the Mad Ogre's chest, just to get her to be able to do something, to be able to contribute. Can be the difference sometimes.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's the smallest of things sometimes, and then other times it really is just the randomizer itself. In this case, it really was. As we're coming down to rocks here, it really just seems like it was that Mom Bomb fight, and it would have been literally as close as you can get again. So that's a real shame, as the race is officially done as Zeke takes down Crocomist, an official time of 1:58.35. So yeah, you can honestly make that argument that this would have been as close as possible had those 3 or 4 wipes not taken place. Ooh, that one's got to hurt Zeke after seeing the times. Man, I got a feel for Zeke on that one.
Yeah, it only takes one rude boss and one not in kind of vulnerable setup that takes away the time you would have wanted to be spent elsewhere doing a more constructive check or something.
Yep, and we are joined by Zeke. GG's. First question right off the bat, obviously. You're probably never going to want to see Mom Bomb again after this race, are you?
Not in that spot, no. But I don't mind the boss fight. It's just those bombs hit a little harder than I expected, even through the equipment we had.
Yeah, I think it was the third wipe, seeing you get 2 bombs left and still just not being able to keep enough people up to get that last couple of hits in. Those are the kind of things that you just look at and go, that can't be any worse. And then just to see, I think it might have been 4 fights you had to do with it. It's just sometimes that's how the bosses work. Like, just maybe a couple more levels would have helped. Maybe just the right amount of luck on the damage rolls. It's one of those little things that you just don't notice until the very end, and that's a real shame. But regardless, that was a really well executed run. Like, you probably would have been right there with McBain had those wipes not happened. So it was still very well run regardless of that big hiccup.
Also, I will say, from my practices this last few weeks, I will take Mom Bomb on King Queen any day when I compare it to earlier this week when I had DKC.
Yeah, I suppose that would be a silver lining.
Pretty much anything is better than DKC.
Yeah. Actually, I won't argue that point at all.
Yeah, typically Mom Bomb dilutes the HP pool because it has to share itself between the smaller bombs. So you think there'd be a bigger HP pool, but no, it's actually less than you spent. Like, especially that spot's like 8,000. I don't remember 8,000 HP. So it's actually less than when you have the mom bomb sequence. The mini bombs do soak up some of the HP. So when you were the struggle with flaming all of them wasn't quite enough. Yeah, mom bomb probably not as scary, but still a nuisance boss.
In retrospect, I think I know one thing that might have helped.
Oh,
that Murrow we started with from Edge actually might have helped with its casting stat boost.
Yeah, that could have done a little bit extra that might have pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, it does have wisdom, yeah. So yeah, could have helped.
But when you get double Masa and Eblin,
yeah, it's kind of hard to resist, isn't it?
The power.
I mean, that did seem to be the key for the seed. I mean, obviously, even without Cecil, this was very much a power overwhelming level seed with the way that the characters in the loot, especially the loot at Eblin Castle, was running. So I can't really blame you for deciding that I just want all the power, because, I mean, that's literally how I like to play. So yeah, I fully understand that one.
But yeah, this was a seed, all right. Good work, Xenocat. You rolled a good one.
Well, I mean, look, you have to do play-ins correctly. You can't just have it be a jet seed that goes quickly. It has to be a full seed. That's how it works. The pressure's on, so you put the longest seed possible.
This was an hour 58, 17 out of 17.
It's still pretty good considering there was no giant required. I mean, that's what
That's my only disappointment.
I was actually hoping for a giant. I was hoping for a wyvern on elements to finish this seed, my tournament run out.
Well, I mean, if anybody could have checked, there could have been a DKC up there, so that would have been interesting. I can feel the disdain in there.
Wait, did we ever see Kainazo?
I don't think we did see Kainazo either.
I'm going to assume that there's a Kainazo on elements that we got lucky we didn't have to play against.
Oh man, there could have been some real extra memes in there if we had to do giant. Oh, Xenocat, why couldn't you roll a giant objective too? Come on. But otherwise, like, to talk about anything other than Mom Bomb at this point, the way your party was shaping up, I mean, you always are sitting there looking with Fu and Cecil, and obviously Fu and Cecil decided that they didn't really feel like being in the seed. You know, when did you get a sense of what your final party was going to be?
About time I was fighting Mom Bomb.
I guess unless you had found like a Cecil, maybe a Dwarf Castle or something, you probably weren't thinking of changing too much at that point.
I didn't have equipment for him. I used the Excalibur to get through. By the time I got to Dwarf Castle, I'd already used the Excalibur on Odin.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
I mean, Cecil was likely behind. Probably behind Giant. So yeah, you weren't gonna get much out of that the Excal outside of throwing away. But I think it was good. Just wanted to mention that routing. You didn't do Twin Heart early. You kind of picked up the Earth Crystal and you routed that in pretty well. The Twin Harp into Zot into Baron. That was a pretty good routing.
I knew I was going to do got that Baron key. That was on Sheila, right? I want to say it was on Sheila.
Probably Sheila 2. Had to be Sheila 2.
Yeah. Well, it didn't really matter. I got the pan before I did Sheila, so. But the Baron key there, I was almost went to do Baron before doing Troya objectives up there, or Troya key items up there. But decided that I'd rather route those in and not fade them for the moon if I got a Darkness Crystal, like I did to the poor Sealed Cave.
Yeah, I assume you faded Sealed Cave because you felt that you were behind. Was that the thing, or was it just faded it outright?
There are two reasons I faded it. One, I got the moon, which one item in Sealed Cave, very slow dungeon, or 7 key item potentials up there. It felt like a statistically better play there.
Yeah,
I hate Sealed Cave.
Oh, then we're definitely in full agreement on that one. I will fade it as much as possible.
I was kind of hoping it was darkness in sealed cave to force me not to fade anything, but yeah, I wanted vanilla. I wanted all the bad things to happen and see I was playing.
Well, that's the thing. If you expect all the bad things, you're prepared for it, and then you're not disappointed when it happens. And then you're surprised when good things happen. That's usually how it works.
Lovely required gauntlet for darkness crystal, I believe.
Well, I think with CPU was darkness, I think.
Oh,
Yes.
CPU was darkness. Gauntlet was nothing.
It's the second grind you asked for, right? That's what the seed provided.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it would have made sense to take on the all gauntlet after Heavy Darkness was hoping for another key item, but I don't think it was worth your time though, for sure.
No, it wasn't.
So your tournament's over and done now. So feelings outside of, again, not Mom Bomb related, feelings of the entire tournament that you had this time, what are you taking from it? What are you hoping to have going forward, going into the next thing? Like, how are your feelings going out now?
I mean, to be completely honest, I'm shocked I made it this far. I did some math. This is my 9th ever race of Final Fantasy FF4FE Enterprise. So, I'm shocked I've made it this far.
And in all honesty, you take away that Mom Bomb thing, it would have been so close that you might have gotten even further. So to be where you're standing, that's a heck of a bit of progress going in here. So obviously, you got to be feeling good coming out, and then whenever the next thing is, whether you go into ladder or whether you just kind of hang around until the next tournament comes up, you got to be feeling pretty good going in. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a good feeling going in, and it's just more to work on, because clearly you're doing something right.
The biggest reason I joined in the first place was I needed a break from my main randomizer, so I decided to join another randomizer tournament for fun. So, and hey, I had fun. So we're all winners here in that case.
And that's the most important part.
But I don't envy McBain's position right now, because I don't know if you've looked at the bracket, but do you know who McBain goes into for the opening of brackets?
Nobody special.
Nobody special, just a 5-0 Rybon.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I suppose it could be worse, but it's not like it's going to get much better.
That bracket is stacked up there.
Yeah, the way the bracket's been shaping up, I've looked at it myself and went, okay, even if in the crazy scenario that my rookie butt got through here, there wasn't going to be much else happening, so you know what? I'm okay with 0-5, because now I don't have to think about having to deal with bracket, because that doesn't look like fun at all.
Well, I have not gotten a single chance to practice bracket seeds because of, I wanted to practice for this flag set.
Yeah, you kind of got to figure, hey, I've only, as you yourself said, you've only done about 9 races, so you're like, well, maybe I should just focus on the races that I'm doing currently and not think about potentially beyond that.
Exactly.
But yeah, before we let you go here, any last memes, any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, first on memes, what do you think of the name scheme for today?
Well, I'm kind of disappointed because you never took an Edward.
I never found him. I think he's on the package or the giant.
Yeah, he was in package.
So that means Cecil is the giant.
Yup.
Right where he belongs.
Possibly with his evil twin, which would have been even funnier.
But just a big thank you to this admin staff team here. They've done a fantastic job putting on a fantastic tournament. This includes also for this exact restream, a big thanks to Xenocat for putting on this restream and rolling, honestly, a really good seed. And thank you to Dubword for tracking, I believe. And then, of course, CS Radical and Deathlike, thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk about this race.
Yep, we're definitely here for it. I mean, whether the seed is jet seed or whether it's trash, all seeds are fun seeds, or a seed to be played and be restreamed. So, thank you for playing. Really,
And I hope to be back for whatever next event is. I'll be back. So, but with that, have a good afternoon to the Restream team today.
and GG's again, Zeke, for the race.
So yeah, that will do it for us as we finish off this fantastic and albeit full of surprises and full of just everything, because it was a full clear. Really good race. We are going to say goodbye for now. We will be continuing the fun, though, as, you know, we did get raided earlier by the Free Enterprise channel. We're going back because we have a tiebreaker for the Dragon Helm group. That will be Rex Banner and Commander Leonhardt. Make sure you check them out there. But one more time, thank you to my fellow Restream team, myself, Deathlike in the booth, Xenocat doing the Restream, taking care of all the magic, and then Dubword47 on the tracker. Everybody did a fantastic job this afternoon. I'm going to go nap because I think that's what the seed wanted, because everybody else was napping in the seed. So yeah, have a good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is where you guys are. Take care, everybody.
Yep. See you all next seed. Do not spoil this race with who we're raiding with. Let them watch the seed when they get the chance, and see you then.